Hello everyone! It has been over a year since I started reviewing cartoons. It's been a lot of fun, so let's take a little bit of a retrospective on this first year. Back in July of 2014, I released my review of Rubik in Wonderland, an episode of one of the most bizarre cartoons in history. To think it's been over 14 months since that video. Back before then, this channel was struggling to find some sort of direction. I nearly found that direction in cubing videos, but it took me beginning to do analysis to really find a solid foundation. Now, I know technically this isn't actually 1 year since I started making reviews, but I figured it'd be fun to celebrate each year around my birthday, which is September 10th. Wait, that was over 2 weeks ago? Okay, I procrastinated, but hey, better late than never, right? The focus of this video is going to be the 3 reviews from last year which really stood out above the rest for me. I'll be going over my least favorite episode which I reviewed, my favorite episode which I reviewed, and my favorite review. So, without any further ado, let's get this party started. Comedy can fail in a variety of ways, but one of the most common I've seen is putting the wrong person at the butt of a joke. Are You Happy Now is probably one of the most flagrant examples of this which I've ever seen. I mean, even just looking at the basic concept, this episode is built upon taking a character who's suffering from severe depression and abusing them ad nauseum. Needless to say, this isn't funny. Kicking someone while they're down is not funny. I firmly believe this episode should never have seen the light of day. As I noted in my actual review, Are You Happy Now was not the first time an episode of SpongeBob attempted to portray depression. The first time they tried this, in the episode One Course Meal, there was a massive backlash. It baffles me how anyone could ever think doing this again, literally the very next season of the show, could have possibly been a good idea. Now, I'm in the minority on this, but I honestly think Are You Happy Now is significantly worse than One Course Meal. At the very least, One Course Meal had a few entertaining moments towards the beginning, and was actually decently paced. It's still a terrible episode, don't get me wrong, but at least it had some redeeming value. The only thing about Are You Happy Now which I've ever heard being defended is how SpongeBob tries to help Squidward cheer up. Do people really think SpongeBob was being helpful here? All he did was repeatedly pester Squidward in a pathetic attempt at self-aggrandizement, despite it being made extremely clear that he was only making things worse. That's not helpful or genuine, it's condescending and narcissistic. You can't help a depressed person if you care more about making yourself their favorite person than listening to what they say. Based on how Squidward went manic at the end of this episode, I'd say this behavior did a lot of harm. The fact that this episode portrays this behavior as helpful isn't just wrong, it's harmful. If something this shameful is the best part of an episode, then the episode is worth less than a piece of gum that gets stuck to the bottom of your shoe.
It's about waiting carefully for the perfect moment to trust.
Well, this review is still fresh in my mind. Where do I even begin with this one? Seriously, there's so much right with this episode. Well, let's start with the choreography. I talked a bit in my actual review about how good the first fight scene was, but I think I glazed a bit over the rest of the action. All of the action in this episode, especially the 2 main fight scenes, was fantastic. Not only was it all very well choreographed, but it was also very well animated. Cinematography gave each swing of the sword its own energy, from the skillful feeling of Pearl fighting the hologram to the tense terror of the hologram fighting Steven. There's high production value in the animation, and there's high production value in the music as well. Back when I did my first review of Rubik in Wonderland, I said the music in that episode was the only good part of it. However, compared to the music in Steven the Sword Fighter, or really any episode of Steven Universe, that music is nothing worth mentioning. Those of you who have seen my YouTube music playlist will have noticed that over a dozen of the songs on it are from Steven Universe, including a song from this episode. This is because all of the music in this show is consistently great. It doesn't just set the tone well, it even works to listen to on its own. Now, I've talked about the presentation here, but presentation is nothing if you don't have good content to back it up. This episode has so much good content. The story is fantastic, every moment of it. Some moments made me chuckle, just simple, amusing, everyday things in this episode made it relatable and funny. Some moments made my heart pound. Yes, the Hollow Pearl was actually pretty creepy at times. Some moments made me emotional. When I first saw this episode, I legitimately thought Pearl had died. And that's not even mentioning how Steven was affected. Seriously, it's upsetting to see him that sad. What more can I say? This episode is great in pretty much every way I can think of. Well, this review was certainly not without controversy. Colors of Raven is the video with the most views, the most comments, and the most dislikes on my entire channel. Actually, that right there is about 80% of the reason why this is my favorite review. It was amazing to see one of my videos get viewed over 10,000 times. And believe it or not, I enjoyed responding to about 90% of the comments. Yes, even the negative ones. What can I say? I like debate. Don't get me wrong, I didn't enjoy getting the few spam comments, and my Colors of Raven review is the whole reason why I now reserve the right to remove non-constructive comments, but the majority of the stuff was enjoyable to read and respond to. As far as the large number of dislikes, I don't lose any sleep over it. Honestly, I don't think I could have talked about the show without getting an abnormally high amount of hate. Most reviews of Teen Titans Go on YouTube tend to have an abnormally high number of dislikes, regardless of the stance they take. This is because Teen Titans Go is very divisive. No matter what, my opinion on it would have conflicted with a large number of people. You have people on one side who think the show is stupid, and you have a similar amount of people who think the show is great. You can only please one of these groups. Is my review flawed? Well, I don't actually stand by my initial rating of 1 out of 4 stars, but that's because when I first made that review, I didn't have half stars in my rating system. I think a better rating for it is 1.5 stars. That's still not good, but it's a tad better. This review was one I truly had a lot of fun making. It was like reviewing a bad fanfiction. Oh, wait, it's an episode of Teen Titans Go. Yeah, it actually was a review of a bad fanfiction. Plus, it manages to fit into the zone where there's a lot wrong with it, but not quite enough that it's completely unbearable. The animation is lazy, the story is lazy, and the jokes are lazy. It's basically the most fun sort of show for me to review. And the unicorns and rainbow scene was also a plus. To close out this video, I want to talk about what's coming up on this channel. This past weekend, I attended the Slow and Steady Fall 2015 Cubing Competition in College Park, Maryland. I got some nice footage from that, and I'll be uploading my solves over the next week. My next review will be an episode of Shizao called No Girls Allowed. That video should be coming out sometime this coming month, but before I release that, I have something a bit exciting to announce. On September the 17th, this channel reached 100 subscribers. That's right, 100 subscribers. I'm honestly floored by this, and I am so grateful. To show you all how grateful I am, I will be holding a contest in the next week or two. This will be open to all of my subscribers, and I'll be giving away either 2 or 3 prizes, I'm not sure yet. So please stay tuned for that. That's about all I have to say for this one. This is a mandolin. Just thought I'd show that to you guys. So thank you guys for the great year, and I'll see you in my next video. That's not right. There, C chord. I played a C chord. I'm not holding this right.